What's up? This is Jordan Gray from Half Lit and DopelivenTV.
Hey, this your boy Don Ritchie representing the Midwest 219. Stand up.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Lamar Tate.
This is your girl, Monifa.
Hey, what up? It's your man Dave Hollister from Blackstreet.
You know what this is right here. This Trigger Tretch in the building.
Hey, what's up, y'all? This is your boy Jason Weaver, and whenever I'm back home in the Chi, I'm checking out Dope Living TV.
Hey, it's your girl, Adina Howard, and you're watching Dope Living TV, live with Greg Gray and the crew.
I'm just going to sit here while he just goes on and on. But the views, I just right now.
It was supposed to come on. It was supposed to come on, okay?
I couldn't even say the disclaimer. I'm laughing so hard. So, wait, he did a whole dialogue. He didn't do a Gina. He did a genie.
Anyway, the views that are expressed on this Dope Living TV Live are not necessarily views of Dope Living TV or its affiliates, okay? Look, they can clown me now, okay? I wasn't looking at nothing because I look around sometimes when I'm talking, especially with a subject like this. We're talking about the homeless, okay? And yes. It's different, all right? Now, as I was saying before, I was so, I ain't gonna say rudely interrupted before I messed
you could have been interrupted.
But I was saying this, okay? You know, the world is going crazy right now, okay? We got the pandemic and the coronavirus going on. And, you know, that seems to be the predominant subject, but nobody's talking so much about the homeless, the plight of the homeless, okay? And that's one segment of the population that's suffering even more than people worrying about the coronavirus. And if you look at it, there's a lot of young people that are out there that are homeless as well, all right? So today we want to talk about the homeless, the plight of the homeless, what makes a person, how does a person get to that point of being homeless? Should their family members do more to get involved to try to help them? Can they be helped? And what are some of the risks that they faced? First of all, let me get my partner in there since she already didn't clown me out. Everybody say what's up to Gina.
Hey, I'm the one who has a voice.
Yeah. Hey, look, I've been ill. I even say, hold on. Marcella said your mute is on. Jeff said you are muted. LOL. Life coach says, got him.
Yes, okay. Coach. Yes.
Okay, I'm speaking with you with the clothes and then the hat. Now it's me. Okay, I got it.
I just want to say that was a beautiful monologue you did for the first minute.
Thank you very much. I hope the people appreciate it. Hope they appreciate it.
Yeah, we heard you loud and clear, bro.
Yes, sir. Natalie said hello. Brenda says
Brenda.
What's going on, Brenda?
Everybody say what's up to my guy, Mo B.
Hey, Mo. What's
happening? And my better half.
That's your better half?
This man.
I'm sorry. Better half. Mary, what's going on, baby?
Hey, what's going on?
I just wanted to let y'all know. I'm here now. Okay, everybody say what's up to Marcella.
Ooh,
Hey,
Marcella.
Marcy.
What's going on,
I was
Marcella?
back
Hey,
here.
Marcella, I was doing like this. I was doing like that.
No, I'm like, hey,
I was doing like this.
You know what?
Can you see me?
I could have got on sooner to save him, but I'm like, let me just let this run for a minute.
Don't save him. You gotta let it keep going. He got you all the time, Jenny.
We always get you.
oh,
He do.
that
He
was
always gets you.
good. That was
I can
good. We
say
love
this.
you, Greg.
I can say this. You'll never get me again. Today I was look. Just woke up. I'm good. Had to get everything straight. I'm crib side, so it's all good. Anyway, let's get to it. Dr. Joy Lynn says, "What y'all talking about? We are talking about the homeless. How does a person get to that point? What are things we can do to help? Brenda said, I thought it was my phone, but you were on mute. You too, huh? Okay.
No, Brenda, it's him, not you.
Exactly.
That y'all. Look, there are a lot of reasons why people become homeless. There's the economic reason, financial trouble, mental health,
Addictions.
Loss of a job, addictions, low wages, racial problems, things of that nature. There's a lot of different domestic abuse, divorce, getting out of jail. There's a lot of reasons why people get to a point of being homeless. All right, and we're going to explore that tonight. I know, and there's a certain group of people like the veterans who have fought in wars, gone overseas, fought in these wars, and come back, and there's nothing here for them.
It's so many out there, so many veterans.
I don't get
Definitely.
that. That's the part I don't get. If they done went and then have been in a war, fought for this country, they should come back in the crib, should be sitting there with their name on it. Hey,
Also, you think about prisoners that are imprisoned wrongly, and then they get out. And because they still have something on their records, they're unable to find a job to
or house.
Our homes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
They do background checks and stuff for credit checks now for houses. So
yes,
it's just I call it a plight. As I opened up when I was silent, I called it the plight. All right, because it is, and this particular subject, I was talking to Gina earlier. I'm kind of I'm in it because I've been homeless before when I first started. Okay, we'll get to the story in a minute. Okay, but I asked the panel, in your estimation, what causes a person to be homeless?
I always looked at it as I always saw it from an addiction standpoint. When I usually saw people, addiction and economic struggle. That's what I usually saw it as. Those were my viewpoints that I always looked at it from.
It was more economic to me. Us, we saw a lot of economic failures. Did I go mess up?
Are you good?
Go ahead.
You good.
I can't see myself. I'm just wondering. There's a lot of economic, especially here in Nashville. Nashville's been booming hard, and everything went up like almost double in the last couple of years off of COVID, And then these people are just building, and everything that they're building. I mean, even if I sold my house today and made a profit, if I go out there, I'll be paying double for what it don't make no sense for me to sell my house. You know what I mean? Even if I'm making double the profit, it don't make no sense.
So we're I guess we're speaking economically and financially.
Yeah.
But and that's basically what happened to me as well. It became a financial and economic thing. I started off. I had a song, and the song was cool. It's on the radio even. Went out to Florida, got on the radio, did a one-time thing, and they called me and said, "Hey, I want you to know, Mo." And had to come back home. Came back home and tried to put some stuff together. I did a dance show. The dance show was very successful on paper, but wasn't making any money. And it got to a point where I had a great job, but after I left that job, I thought that the amount of money that I took with me would carry me through. because, like I said, the show was successful, but it was, I didn't know what I was doing. So lost every single penny, and I wound up outside. Had a car didn't work. All right. So I wound up, and people who, a lot of people don't know the story, but some people do. There was a elementary school next to the hospital in Gary, Indiana. I slept underneath the sliding board. They had did this playground that was going to be used for the kids the next year. They had it built up, but every day I would go walk to the show on 925 Kentucky. That's where I got 925 from. 925 Kentucky. And I got there before everybody got there. Had my suit on, everything, and this and that. And after the show, I'll wait till everybody left and walk all the way back to that location. And they had this enclosure that had some wood chips in it. That's where I slept there for 3 months. I was right there. I heard gunshots. There was even a moment where I had to really get in the corner, and there were people that were just out there smoking and drinking. Didn't know I was underneath there, but they were right there. Dogs were coming over. Little animals were coming over. Could I? And this is a question that, and Chris even said, Greg, that was pride. Okay, could I have asked a family member to, hey, let me stay with you. I'm down on my luck. Can I stay with you for a few months or a few weeks or however long? And but I didn't. And for me, it was because I prayed on it, and I said that this is what I heard when I pray, is that if you want to be successful, you got to go through something to get to something. So this is what you got to go through. Whether it was the right thing to do or not, I went through it. And I would go and visit mom and dad every day. Took the little quick, what do they call it, a whole bath?
Yep.
I'd do that and roll out, every day. Never told them. And I think I told one of my brothers, but I never told anybody until I told the family here. And it's emotional to me because of the fact that there's a lot of people right now who are out there and they don't have a choice. I had a choice, but I chose to go on my faith. But they don't have a choice. They're out there. And just like in Chicago, I think it was in Chicago, where they got this guy called, he's the walking homeless guy. Somebody set him on fire. I mean, what do we do? I mean, at what point? Because we can't help everybody. We're giving billions of dollars to another country to fight, but we got millions of people in our country who don't have a home, who don't have a leg to stand on. And it's easy for us to say, and I'm gonna shut up after this. It's easy for us to say when these people come up to us, okay, you get a job. If you can be out here doing this and that, you can get a job. They can't. They can't.
Exactly.
With that, a lot of people don't understand. Homeless is not just actually outside. Homeless is also considered when you're living with someone, but it's not your home. You're temporarily living with someone. When you're temporarily in a shelter or in transitional housing, that is also considered homeless. When people say, oh, they can just go get a job. There's so many jobs. Everywhere is hiring. First of all, you need to have an ID. You need clean clothing. If you're somewhere that's not stationary, you don't always have clean clothing. And you see how some people out here that are homeless are looking. Also, you have the mental ill who are falling through the cracks. For whatever reason, the families are not there for them, or because of their mental illness, they've left from where their family members are. Family members don't know where they are. They can go to a different state, be somewhere else. And after a few months, they really don't even recognize their family members, hair all over the place, dirty and things of that nature. And it's just not that easy without an ID, without your documents showing that you are who you say you are. And you need an address. In order to fill out an application, you actually need an address. So what are you going to say? Hey, like Greg said, he was at a playground. I live at playground here. And a lot of them, when they're doing your background checks and they're checking, let's say if he had the address of the school, they're going to check that address and they're going to see, hey, this man is lying, when he really wasn't lying. He was just homeless and this is where he was living. So it's just not that easy. It is not that easy.
I agree. I agree with you 110%. I mean, we have a full where all panhandling and stuff is very legal here. So there's no motivation for anybody to get a job. You know, so you could go, I mean, you could stand there and panhandle and make, you know, $1,000 to $1,500 a day. Panhandling.
And you know, panhandling is not legal at all places. But the thing is, a lot of the local officials do not enforce the rules if it's that. And then another problem with homelessness is criminalizing it.
Yeah. And that part right there, I don't agree with.
And it's more, it actually costs more money to arrest people, to put them in jail, to feed them. If there's a health issue, which for homeless people, there are a lot of homeless, there are a lot of health issues. So it actually costs more money to arrest someone, feed them, house them in a jail, take them to the hospital or urgent care or wherever for their health reasons, when it's much cheaper to get our housing. Here, where some of us are from, some of us are originally from Gary, Indiana. We have quite a few schools that are empty. And why can't you use schools to house homeless?
That's what Mary Ann was talking about.
Some of that money can go to there. There are warehouses. There are all kind of things out here, and you know, there's so many ways that we can bring these people off the streets. In America alone, there's over 500,000 Americans that are homeless. Some to fault of their own, others not. We have a lot of teens that are out there. They're running problems from their home. There might be, you know, from dysfunctional homes. And again, you got the mental illness. You have the domestic violence. You have domestic violence shelters all over. You have the human trafficking. There, you know, that's more prominent now. Before 2015, 2016, it wasn't as prominent. So you didn't have as many shelters for those with human trafficking. And I'm not saying sex trafficking, because it's more than just sex. It's organ and all. They're taking your organs. They're getting you pregnant and taking your babies from you. They're making you work for free and at under crazy conditions. So we need to look at. We need to lobby our politicians, because there were laws on the books, but then some of them were taken away.
Yeah. And, you know, the thing about it is they don't want to run into the same situation where they ran into, like on the south side of Chicago, where you had places for people to go there basically virtually homeless because of their income level, because of their color of their skin. They just put them in a big building, and there was a big mecca for crime is all it was. And they don't want to step in that same poop again. But I think there's a way to vet people to get in those places, so when they do get in those big buildings and things, that you're not dragging the crime element back into it. There's got to be a way.
You got to do what you just said. You got to vet them as well. Everybody say hello.
Kevin.
Hey, Kevin.
Hey, what's up?
Well, let me add my 2 cents. I was just waiting.
Hold up, Jim. If you want to join the conversation, everybody that's not on Facebook, that's watching, if you want to join the conversation, give us your opinion. Give us a call at 865-304-9588. Get in on the conversation. Go ahead, Jen.
Yeah, you know, one of the things that really stood out was the walking guy. You know, and he's very known in Chicago, down in the Loop. You know, just walking, you know, trying to live day to day, minding his own business. And for someone to just walk up, pour fluid on him, and light him on fire while he's asleep. You just think about all the hazards, all the things that can happen to a homeless person, just being out there in the elements, being out there in the crime. And this wasn't the first instance with him either. There was, prior to that, he was beaten with a bat and in the hospital for months. So these, you know, I don't think anybody chooses to get up one day and say, hey, I think I'm just going to be homeless. Exactly. There's so many situations, and even especially with the pandemic, people lost their jobs, they lost their homes. I think that really flipped the script for a lot of people. It's just something that I think that society just turns a blind eye to.
And so as we're doing this, as we're trying to help and cope with people who are homeless, because a lot of people have a negative view of those people who are homeless. How can we turn that page for these people? How can we make these people know that, number one, they are valued, and number two, there is help for them?
Go ahead. I'm sorry, Jeff.
I was gonna say, see, that's why I asked the question: is it more of a, like Marcy was talking about getting the government and politicians in? But see, I asked the question: is it a governmental issue or is it more of a humanitarian issue? Because my thing is that I feel that they can go hand in hand and work together. I feel that we do need to have some more systems in place for some people who really do qualify to get that type of aid, help, and need to get back up on their feet. But it's also up to us too to kind of rally around these people and say, you know what, hey, you down at this moment, let's go ahead and pull you up real quick.
But
Let's
Jeff,
see
you're
what we can.
absolutely right though, because look, check this out. The government, the politicians, that's the hardest nut to crack. Okay, so if we don't start at this grassroots level, the humanitarian level as you spoke on, it ain't gonna work. And again, this cannot be something that we talk about now and then let it go to the wayside, and we don't talk about it again. You know what I'm saying? We got to continue the conversation.
Definitely.
But Jeff, how you were just saying, there are the government does have different things. They have Section 8, they have low income housing and things of that nature. But the problem with that is there's so much red tape. Yes, there are certain people, but I remember from part of Indiana, a relative told me that they were putting in for Section 8, and they told them, hey, we probably won't call you for 5 to 6 years. We have a list that long. And then there are laws and rules in every state of the United States that says, excuse me, only a certain amount of money can go towards homelessness. Only a certain amount of money can go towards the amount of units for people that are homeless, that are low income and things of that nature. And Gina, to what you just said about COVID, and reading with statistics, they said actually homelessness kind of dropped a little bit. It didn't get as bad because during COVID, there were a lot of different, different organizations and resources out here for those that were losing their jobs because of COVID and things of that nature. So we didn't have it when people were losing their jobs. There was money out there, but then after they're saying COVID is not here anymore, or as not as prevalent as it was previously during the main pandemic. So now you have people that are still out of work, maybe not getting that extra money monthly or however they were getting their money. So now we can really go right back into that. And with you, Jeff, yes, it goes hand in hand, the government and humanitarian efforts. And it's like people like us, you have a lot of organizations. You have the National Coalition of for Homelessness, and that's in Washington, D.C. I think, Gina and Greg, I gave you that number. But contact some of these organizations to see there are ways that even, you might not be a millionaire or billionaire. There are ways and things that you can help as well. Not only just with homes, they're going to need, when they do get a place to stay, most of these people have no furniture, no pots and pans, no towels, no sheets. And that's something else, at a smaller level that we can help as well. There's so many things. Contact some of these organizations to ask them, besides just donating something of that nature or just donating money, what is it that we can do? What is it that we can do?
Marcy,
there's also people that are homeless don't know about these organizations that are out there.
Exactly.
So, we need people who are going to be able to go and talk to the homeless and give them that information or take them to those locations, and those people are going to have to be out there constantly because the homeless need to know that they can trust them.
And that's a big point.
Here's the thing that I learned being out there, right? And we talk about this all the time, all right? I learned how not to worry about what happened yesterday but to look forward. All right. So as I'm in that homeless position, I'm trying to think of a way to get out of it. What can I do to get out of it? Because I'm homeless now. It's already there. It's happened. It's reality. Okay. How do I get there? And that's a lot of people that are homeless don't really, they don't want to be there. Okay. But they don't think about, well, you know, how can we make that step? How can we do something different that's going to change the course of yesterday?
I beg to differ. I used to feed the homeless on Lower Wacker Drive.
Have you been homeless though?
No, I haven't. But let me.
Okay, well, you're begging to differ on something that I'm telling you about.
Okay, but what I'm trying to say is, I talk to some of these people, and a lot of them, like Marianne just said, they don't trust people. They just don't know. And when you've been in that, sometimes you get so deep into that. I want to say sometimes people are depressed and have anxiety once they're in that position, and they might have been there so long, it's like they don't feel that they have any hope.
Okay, that's the defeatist attitude. Okay,
right, that's I think it's going to be on an individual basis. There are some people their family have come and said, "Hey, come home," and they chose and they said, "I want to stay out here." You know, so I think it's on an individual basis. You can't just lump it all together and say, you know, homeless people is this, homeless people is that. It's really, I've never been homeless, but I was almost there. I've been almost there.
I've been homeless with my children, but not for a very long time. And everybody's homeless situation who goes through it is different. Mine was a choice of not going to my parents. Mine was, it came from, I was running from a relationship that was very abusive, and I chose not to go home. I stayed in a women's shelter for about 2 or 3 days, and then I went and I found me an apartment. But the problem was that the apartment wasn't open because the lady that was supposed to had vacated hadn't vacated it, and so then it took 3 months to get a place. Meanwhile, I'm bouncing between my friends, you know, and slept 1 or 2 days in the car, you know, that kind of stuff. But, you know, like Jeff said, I'm sorry, like Greg said, you do think about what's my next step, because I had 2 kids to think about. And okay, if this apartment's not going to come open, where am I going to go? I'm not going back home. I done did that before, and I'm not doing it. So what's my next step? Here recently, I've been involved talking to this young man who stands out on the corner close to one of the schools, who panhandles, and I found out quite a bit about him, and he's been, him and his girlfriend have been homeless, and they lived in their van, and they just had a child, and the state took the child away from them because of the homelessness and because they're drug addicted. So you know, they're having a couple of issues. His drug addiction came from, he got hurt on the job, hurt his hand. Doctor put him on opioids, and when they cut him off from the opioids, he started using, you know, street drugs to calm his pain down. And you know, he will sit there and he's totally honest with me about his addiction, and he didn't know some of the locations, and so I got home and I looked up a lot of the stuff, and you know, gave him information, and he comes to me whenever he needs information. That's how come I said, you know, you need people out there that are going to give information. That takes nothing but time, you know.
Exactly.
You got people working down at the mission. They're always running around scooping up these people. But when morning comes,
you got to leave the mission. You know, you can't. You can stay, and then you're not secure neither. No. And because I was asking him about that. I'm like, why don't you go down to the mission? Why are you sleeping in your truck?
They got a big, pretty mission.
And he said they separate him and his his girlfriend. You know, she has to go over on the female side. He has to go over on the man's side. And you're not safe. You're in this big, huge room with everybody else.
Yeah.
And he said there's been times when his shoes have gotten stolen. Our son actually went past when I told my son about that. He went past and gave him a pair of gym shoes. You know, so I mean, there's a lot of stuff that happens to them while they're in those missions, and that makes them not want to go.
And you think about they're taking the blow of being homeless, and then you got the blow of not being able to have no income. You know what I'm saying? Not being able to be motivated about getting any income. So, and
Bree Barnett says this is a sensitive subject. He was there because of daughter being mentally challenged. Folks don't want to do anything but that. Was homeless for a minute. That's some embarrassing stuff. I don't. You know what? It may be embarrassing if you let it take you. I wasn't embarrassed. Well, I can't say I wasn't embarrassed. I think my ego was crushed because I thought I had done everything right and I didn't. But again, I can only speak on my what happened with me. So, you know, I got a little angry with you myself, begging the difference. So I apologize for that. But I can only speak on what happened with me. And it's, to me, like Reese said, it's a very sensitive subject because I can see it like it was yesterday, okay? And you know, I cried many nights laying out there in the open, you know. And but I just said, you know what, this is not going to be my legacy. This is not going to be. I'm not going to be.
I'm going to put that foot down and stop the world from spinning.
Exactly. It's not going to. That's not going to define who I am. So I don't care if I had to walk, and I'll walk some shoes out, man. Okay, but I still
don't know. I went through it. I guess you call it grades of homelessness.
No, you were homeless.
Basically,
you were living with a friend.
Yeah, exactly. Well, so you know, I'm going through the divorce. It was, you know, real painful and everything. Going through separation and all that other stuff. And I'm gonna tell you something.
Didn't have a car.
And you know, the little money that I was getting, you know, I was working at temporary service, you know, and the little cash I was getting, I was giving him like $500 a month. I didn't know what the rent was in the spot.
He was looking.
I was paying 2 people's rent.
When I met Maurice, Maurice was homeless.
Basically.
And he walked. I seen him walking back and forth to wherever he needed to go. And
I walked a lot.
And there were even times when he looked really, really bad. I mean, you know, to the point where you're like, people who knew him in the past,
like,
they thought he was on drugs.
They thought I was on crack. I mean, after I got my stuff back together and everything, I said, man, I saw you walking down the side of 35, which was a access road, and looked at you, and I thought you had messed around and fell in that crack hole. Nope.
Here's the thing, too. You know, a lot of us, we don't lean on the support system that we have that would gladly do some stuff for us because we have a purpose, okay? But there are some people who don't even have that support system.
Yeah,
they're out
exactly.
there. Truthfully.
Yeah.
And I think that's what when you're talking about different degrees of homelessness, some people have gotten to the point homelessness has turned into a life without hope, without opportunity, without potential, without you know, anything else to change, and they're just waking up every single day hoping that, you know, they don't get rolled over, bent over, gasoline poured on them, and whatever. And you know, like Greg, you know, I've experienced it personally for myself, and there's a different mindset to everyone that comes out of it on the other side. Is that, you know, when you give up on yourself, when you don't look for something to give you a higher power, that's the reason why you hear a lot of people, when you hear their stories about being homeless, having their back against the wall, and experiencing this type of a lifestyle, you turn to your faith and you start to ask, and your ask is bigger every single day. But you also have to remember your ask has to be supported by your actions. And, you know, Being down and out is you've given up on yourself. Being homelessness is a temporary situation. I mean, you look at the examples of the people that are having these conversations about being homelessness. It's like they were never down and out. They were in a situation in a moment of time
Right.
that life was challenging them,
Yeah.
challenged
Right.
each and every last one of us.
Mhm.
And you know, I can't speak for Greg or Maurice or his wife. Is that I hope no one ever has to experience that. I
Right.
mean, you don't know what it's like to have someone walk past you and you needing help and you've got great experience and you become invisible to humanity. And I
Oh,
think, and I
you know,
think,
As you know,
and
as I
I think
listen,
that, and I think the biggest thing, you know, when we look for answers to that, is that we've got to make it personal. We've got to visit these shelters and say, what can I do to help today, and then help. And a lot of times, having that conversation with someone that says, "Look, I'm looking at you as a human being,"
Right.
because we have a tendency that when we look at our own stuff, we will walk over a homeless person versus to give them a hand. And we also have to remember, living in New York, I remember Christmas that I was living on 54th and Park, and I walked in my building. There was a guy that was there, and I um, I gave him $10, and he turned around and gave it back to me. He goes, "I only do um, 20s and 30s," and I'm going, "What do you mean?" He goes, "I need $20 or $30." I said, "I gave you 10. You're one quarter way there," and I took the money back. He wasn't even homeless. He was hustling. So,
Mm.
you know, for those of you that are perpetrating a crime, remember every dollar you take from someone, you're taking a dollar from someone that needs it, that will do better with that dollar than you're doing for yourself.
and you know you have to
that's true.
put it like this: if you're going to give it, and because if you start worrying about where it's going, you won't get nobody nothing.
Right.
You know.
As long as your heart's in the right place. And
Exactly.
What were
so
you
do,
going to say, Jeff?
so do you think just let's say we find homes for everyone? Do you think that's the only thing that needs to be done?
No.
Or, okay,
No.
Nah, it's
right,
You know,
good.
when you're homeless, you want to be in a situation you can provide for yourself. You don't want a handout. You don't
Mhm.
want people feeling sorry for you. You know, at least most of us. I mean, there are a lot of people that need medical help that are out there on the street and we ignore. But we also have to look at, you know, when people say, well, you have access to Section 8 and whatever. You ever see a homeless person with the internet?
Mm-mm.
Well,
and
see,
see
that's,
that's the big thing.
that's why you need people to
Yeah.
go out there to give information to these homeless people. There are some that don't want the information, okay? But
They'll tell you.
exactly, leave me alone. You know,
Yeah, they will.
but the ones that want the information, that's the ones that
They need to pick up and
you
take
know
to the
you
shelter.
cater to. You know, but you got to get a rapport with them in order to know whether they want your help or not.
You know what's so crazy?
You know,
You know
as
how
I
cold
listen,
it gets in Chicago? It gets below zero in Chicago and get around there. Here, it gets 35 degrees, maybe 20, maybe
If it
sometimes
drops in the teens, they open up all the shelters.
they open up all the shelters and then start going to pick up people to put them in these warming camps.
But
But
you,
in the morning they got to leave.
Yeah.
Jeff, what were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say, as I continue to listen, one common denominator that is actually said around this whole thing is the mindset. And I really want to talk about that for just a brief second, because the thing is that this really, when people reach certain pitfalls in their life, you always have to revert back to your learned behavior, how you will react to certain situations, how you choose to take yourself out of something, how you choose to actually pull yourself out from the bottom, because I feel that that's very important. And a lot of times people don't have the opportunity to see a family member hit the bottom, or to have that person in their life to tell them, hey, you know what? You can always make it. You can always do it. There's always a solution for every problem that's out there. A lot of people don't have that type of support system in their family. A lot of people don't ever hear that in their lifetime. And the thing is, I like to think that when people pull themselves out, it is because of faith. You have to remember, even with faith, I guarantee you, for all of y'all that were at least homeless at one point in time, there was something that you could think of or you could repeat in your mind that you were able to hold on to, that was able to give you more faith to pull yourself out of that. you'd be surprised how a lot of people just don't have that little bit. You know, they're not introduced to certain things in their life to really have that mental capacity to pull themselves out from the dirt, man. And I feel that that's really big, because how you raised, how you go through life, even because I could wake up tomorrow and I could lose all of this. But the thing is, I'm not going to let it stop me, because I've seen it. I've put in some work. I haven't seen homelessness, but I've put in some work to try to make sure I can have better. You know what I mean? So with my mental capacity, my mind state, with me just trying to lean on the fact that, hey, I know that there is something better on the other side. You know, it's wild. Some people just get stuff stripped away from them and they can't come back from it. I feel that it all boils down to that mental capacity, what they've seen, who they've had in their ear telling them, hey, you can do this or you can do that. Because some people get it stripped and taken away from them. And then they, like we said earlier, they just accept it. You know what I mean? Acceptance is a mental thing, yo.
Yeah.
You know, that's all mental.
Something that Marianne said, you know, you need the people to go out, get out there and try to talk to the people. So not only just looking for homes and getting them a roof over their head, but they need to be able to provide places for if you have an addiction, something for those with mental illness, something for programs out there also for teaching you healthy living habits and for stability, because you can get a roof over your head, but if you're, like you said, lifestyle and things are not changed, you can always end right back up in there, because if addiction is the reason why you ended up homeless in the first place, and that's not addressed.
Right.
You know, it just makes sense.
And, you know, sometimes it's not even just talking to them about where they could go and get help. Sometimes it's just you talking to them, like Kevin said, as a human being, letting them know that, hey, I see you, you know, and that's how the conversation actually with this young man started, was that, you know, I seen him and I seen how every time he got $1, he was praising God, you know, thanking God for that $1 that somebody decided to hand him. And it touched me. And so I went over there and I said, I just want to let you know that I see you, you know, and conversation started from that, you know, and he now, no matter where I'm at, if he's in the vicinity, he, you know, he's honking at me. He's saying, hey, how you doing? You know, and it brought his joy up, even though, you know, he's in this midst of homelessness. Now him and his girl have a place. Now they're working on getting their child, you know, back from the state. So he comes to me with questions about that, because he knows that I'm a grandmother, you know, and I've told him, you know, hey, yeah, I've been through this with my sons, you know, on helping them with their children, you know, maybe it's child support or this or that, you know, and I'm able to give him suggestions, you know.
Yeah.
So let me interject for a moment, okay? Gina wants to play a video, by the way, but let me ask you guys. There's a lot of people that go out there and they put on YouTube the things that they're doing for the homeless and this and that, okay? Do you think they're using the homeless as a mean to bolster their platform? Gina, what video did you want to play?
Yeah, I'm going to play just some information on the homeless crisis.
All right, y'all check this out. We'll be right back. DopelivenTV. Go ahead, Gina.
The homeless crisis in America is worsening again. The COVID pandemic caused a surge in housing costs and a rise in unemployment, leaving nearly 600,000 Americans unhoused in 2020.
We have to shut down a piece of our own humanity to be able to walk past another human being that is in such difficult situation.
And being homeless, your days anywhere spent from where I'm going to lay my head at tonight, where I'm going to get my next bite of food from.
And what people don't typically realize when they walk past a person who's homeless is that this person is costing taxpayers a lot of money.
Cities across America are spending more than ever to combat the crisis. In 2019, New York spent a record-breaking $3 billion to support its homeless population. California is also expected to break its record, allocating $4.8 billion of its budget to the same issue over the next 2 years.
In areas like that, just don't seem to be getting any better, despite the fact that every politician claims that this is a top priority of theirs and the budgets keep going up.
Overall, homelessness in America has only improved 10% compared to 2007. It's even worse for certain subgroups such as individual homelessness, which dropped only 1% in the same period. On the contrary, 2020 saw a 30% increase in the unsheltered homeless, erasing over half a decade of work since its dramatic rise in 2015.
Right now, we're trending in the wrong direction. So the state of homelessness right now is pretty tenuous, and there are some small increases that are taking place across the board.
Okay.
It's a serious problem.
Now,
see, the biggest thing with resources, when you look at you hear these big numbers, $3.5 million and all this other and what they're spending, is actually if you go through and watch what they're actually spending the money on.
Thank you, Kevin. Say that.
Okay, and I'll say it again. And what you actually, because I know in Seattle has a big homeless population or problem. And it was a couple of years ago before Obama got in, there was a report that the representative for Seattle has taken over $1 million to do research on mosquitoes.
See,
I'm going, you got to ask five people what the problem was with mosquitoes and save yourself over $1 million.
Exactly, and that's the problem I have.
All these resources are not going to the programs that they're supposed to be going on. They're going to the support what the politicians deem to be important.
Yeah.
And that's why when you look at those 3.2 billion, 4 whatever billion dollars, like the statistics was saying in the video, it's like, yo, if you really had that much money and you were putting that towards homeless people, so you trying to tell me out of them billions of dollars, you couldn't just slide somebody 30 grand? You know what I mean? I'm just saying. I know. Listen, but I get it. I get it. I know there's a process. I understand that they just can't pull $4.2 billion out their ass. That ain't what I'm trying to say. That's not what I'm trying to say at all. What I'm trying to say is that when you have that type of money and you're telling me that you did that within a year, okay? You telling me you did that within a year's time. What I'm trying to see is I need to know, I want to see a story. I want to see somebody who really, who benefited from not just the program. Because I want to say this, yo. A lot of times when these people can't, see, like we talk about low income and Section 8. You know what it takes to get that stuff? Low income. In order to have low income, you got to have some type of income. In order to have Section 8, you got to have some type of income, yo. My thing is, I get we could tackle the addiction. You know what I mean? We could tackle the mental state of it. We could do all that. I feel that stuff should come first, but we still do need to help these people get mentally and physically ready to be able to handle money. You know what I mean? To help them so they can go ahead and put it towards the right places. And I'm telling you, when I see numbers like that, 4.2 billion, $3.5 billion, and there are still people out there sleeping under a Chicago bridge. Right. So, and Kevin says, like, you know, hey, that money is $1 million going to them damn mosquitoes. Screw them mosquitoes. Bump that. Somebody needs some money in their pocket. Somebody need something as simple as they putting up these houses where they could just screen print the house. You know what I mean? Why don't you build some communities like that to go ahead and help some homeless people out? Why can't you put that billions of dollars so they can have a couple months of rent for free? You know what I mean? See, that's how my mind thinks, yo.
You look at these programs, and you talk about, if you go through every major metropolis, there are communities where there are whole towns that are abandoned, buildings that are abandoned. If you think about, if you want to put that money in, level those houses, put a bunch of tiny little homes on there. Put people in their homes, because you see these shows, $20,000, $30,000. These homes are looking better than some people that've got 3,500 square feet home. You plant a couple of trees in there, put green grass and a playground, put a system where your children can have education, Provide, you know, a lot of these people want to work, but a lot of
Yep.
people won't give them an opportunity. And McDonald's is not the final answer, but provide them with an opportunity they can make a living, and then eventually where they can have ownership in something.
I'm so sick of everybody saying, you know,
McDonald's.
you can go to McDonald's or Burger King, get you a job. Okay, they always hiring. They are not always hiring. Number one.
Exactly.
But you know,
that is
even if
not the place, that is not just the homeless alternative. Okay, real quick, Byron says the entire West Coast has a homeless problem. I used to live in Southern Oregon, and there were a lot of homeless people. It is not.
But you know what, Greg? Even if you were to go to McDonald's or something of that nature, a lot of when they tell you about these low paying jobs, you can get that job, but then you have to get another job and 2 and 3 jobs to make one good salary to be able to pay for your home and the things that go along with it. Something
That's where this comes in the play. Okay?
You got to be creative.
You have to understand where you want to go. All right. You know, some people can go to McDonald's and get that job and then go out and buy some liquor and this and that, and they're never going to progress. Okay, but you gotta have a plan. You gotta make sure that you understand it. Is it practical to say that that a lot of homeless people can't think about a plan because they don't have an idea of what's going on in the world or whatever? No, I think every single person that's out there, well, I'm not gonna say every single person. There's a lot of people out there that are capable of getting something. I've known, I used to ride the train in Chicago. There was a guy that was a stockbroker making plenty of money. All right. He lost his job, became homeless. He's on the train every day, but he was very educated. He was well versed in what was going on with the stock market and everything. He was totally against them because of the way that they treated him, but there was nothing they can do. And that's the other part about it. As a homeless person, you know, does your pride stop you from accepting certain opportunities, I'll call it? You know, a lot of people like, pardon me?
Pride is a big stopper.
Yeah, it's a big stopper. Okay. Me, I had that pride. You know, I wanted to do it because I felt that God told me you got to go through something to get to something. So I did what I had to do. So I wasn't looking for a handout per se. Like I said, a lot of people didn't even know because I would go to my mom and dad's house early in the morning, put my suit on, walk back up to the cable station, wait on everybody to get there, do the show, fantastic show. Everybody in the Northwest is watching it, and walk out of there. You know what I'm saying? Nobody knew. Nobody ever asked questions. Nobody knew. They never saw a car there that I drove, but they knew I was always there all the time. All right. Pride. My pride stopped me from telling anybody and possibly stopped me from getting to a better position sooner. I don't know. All right. But I felt that I had to do what I had to do. And here I am now. Okay. My story is not everybody else's story.
Yeah. I mean,
I know pride stopped a lot of things, stopped me from going to my parents, you know, because I already been down at that avenue, you know, and I didn't want to hear again, I told you so. I didn't want to do again the you know, the begging and you know, and the explaining, you know.
It cost us some hurt too. I mean, it caused her to lose a job from IBM, out of IBM.
Yeah, I lost a really good job because the first time around when I became homeless and had to go to my parents, and my kids were a lot smaller at that time, and all because my mom didn't want to take care of my, you know, watch my children. And this was I was working night shift. I lost a really good paying job. So then, of course, I had to start all over again. You know, I got a job at a fast food place, and I found a daycare that would allow me to pay by the day, you know, and then even sometimes by the hour, and until I was able to get the next job and the next job. But I kept on pushing. It's like Greg said, you know, you got to have a goal. And I knew what my end goal, what I wanted to see. You know, I could already envision it. You know, I knew I wasn't gonna stay there for long. But then the second time when I found myself homeless, it was a different situation, and I was like, I'm not going to my parents. They didn't even know, and I made it into an adventure for my kids, and I don't even think to this day that they remember that.
See, Kevin, you gonna say something?
Yeah, I was going to say the most creative sign that I've ever seen in New York when the stock market was crashing. The guy was in a nice suit. He had this nice sign that he had put together, and the sign read, he goes, "Give to me today because next week I may just have to take it from you."
Oh,
Wow.
Whoa.
That's deep.
And I actually gave to him. I said, because that was the most honest thing that I said. And I talked to him for a little bit. And he had lost his job on Wall Street. His wife, because they had lost her home, left him and took the kids and left him to fend for himself because, he was the breadwinner and he felt he had lost everything. And all he wanted was an opportunity to go back to work. And
opportunity, that's that word.
It was 6 months for me, and I wasn't homeless. I was staying with somebody. I was homeless myself. I didn't own the place, you know what I'm saying? But I was staying with somebody, and I found out that they were on crack. It's like,
see, my situation, I was living out of my car, and lucky for me, and I will say this, that Ford Motor Company, the Ford Explorer, when you laid the seats down, it was a perfect size.
Ain't it?
For a twin, for that air mattress that's a twin, I'm going to tell you, it was perfect. And lucky
Ford Explorer stretch out, boy.
Yeah, and so and I worked almost 24/7, any job I had, and the worst job I ever took. And I hope they never become a sponsor. And if they hear this, it's up to you. I took a job at Walmart, and that was hell.
They're going to be a sponsor.
All right, then I'm going to say I would never send anyone to work at Walmart. I mean, because I watched the way not only the way they treat me, is the way they train their managers to treat other people. They give a lot to cover up where they fall short. But when you experience it firsthand and watch people there and see good people get promoted and turn on the people when they used to complain about how they were treated before, and they treat people just as bad.
Set them up with money.
To this very day, I will not give $1 to Walmart.
Well, they will be a sponsor. Okay, Marcy, take us into the life coach.
It's that time again. Hold up. Wait a minute. Let's redirect, regroup, and refocus with our life coach, Jeff Relevant.
Hey, that's what's up. Thank you, Marcy. All right, real quick, I want to focus on the word humble. Okay, so let's take a look at what this word means. It says having or showing a modest or low estimate of one's own importance. That means, once again, it's not all about yourself. Being humble means you being able to look outside somebody other than you. So I like to always put this in the category of you being a blessing to somebody, or you trying to help somebody who's in need or want. I know it's kind of funny. I'm talking about this and we're talking about homelessness today. But the thing is, when you're humble, it allows you to actually try to see something from somebody else's point of view. When you're humble, it actually allows you to try to, say, hey, let me put myself in their shoes so I can actually look at the problem that may be ahead of them or that they're in right now. So I'm going to ask you today, are you being humble? Are you taking the time to actually look at somebody's situation and say, hey, what are they in? Or is this something that I can actually help them with? Or are they good? Are you humble enough to say, all right, whatever. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just dive right in and I'm going to give a gift or be a blessing to somebody else? Have you asked yourself that question today? If not, that's what I challenge you to do. I challenge you to shift your mindset and focus on your humility and your humbleness today. Because I guarantee you, if sometimes you would just pull back a little bit, that layer, and humble yourself and see where you're actually at, you can actually go farther in this life.
Okay.
True that.
All right. Woo-hoo.
Hey, you know what? I ain't gonna say it. We gonna see if he gonna catch it.
Oh, Lord.
He caught it.
But we love him.
Not again.
Twice, boy.
I'm over here feverish, y'all. I'm sorry. Redirect, regroup, refocus. That's the life coach, Jeff Relevant. This is a hell of a day for me, boy. I feel like I'm homeless right now on this show. That's a name to speak on it. But yeah, man, it's as we talk about this homeless, like I said, I've said a lot, but I haven't said too much. I've been listening because as I'm sitting here and hearing you guys' thoughts, I'm remembering. I actually was looking at something earlier today because I was actually tasked on a documentary on my life, Netflix 2024, y'all. And it was it started off with that long road that I used to walk on, and it went up to a street sign that said 10th and Kentucky. All right, and as I was looking at some of the footage they presented to me, I was like, wow, you know what? You really do go through something. And you know, I'm quite sure everyone has had different difficulties in their lives, okay? But I'm telling you, the plight to be out there with nothing, no safety net at all. It's rough, man. It's scary. It is scary. Kevin, you had a car, but I ain't even have a car. You know, it was. I had a car, but it didn't work. You know what I mean? And I remember one morning, I'm telling you, I decided that I was so afraid of being in that little confine that I was in. I went to my car, and I got in there. All my clothes and everything was in there, and I snuggled up in there. The car was right behind, because it had stopped right behind an ex-girlfriend's mother's house. Okay, and so I looked, and the girl's sister was coming out of the house. I'm quite sure she saw me because, like I said, nobody knew, but I'm quite sure she saw me because I was getting out of the car. She looked, and I looked at her eyes, and I got back in the car real quick. I wouldn't have. I guess it is embarrassing, especially when you haven't told anybody and they find out. But nobody ever said anything that saw me. And I can remember one time, and this is when I knew that I had a purpose. I was walking to the studio, and you know, you walk. Well, as a person who didn't want anybody to know, you take them side streets, those different streets instead of that normal street, the avenues, and then you take those side streets. I took a side street, and I ran into this guy, long braids, thug-looking dude. Okay, and I had on this cheesy Tom Valeska suit, right? So I'm walking down the block, and this dude, he just looking at me, and he stopped. He was smoking everything. He stopped, and so I'm continuing to walk. I'm like, okay, this is it. I'm getting ready to get my ass whooped, all right? Because I look like a punk. You know, Jerry Curl was on point, all of that stuff. So I look like a punk, all right? So he stopped and said, hey. I was like, okay, here it is. I couldn't puff out my chest because I ain't had one. And he said, hey, man, I know you. And I'm like, okay. And he said, no, stop, man. Don't keep walking. And I'm like, okay.
Stop.
So he said, you that dude that be on that dance show, ain't you? I said, yeah. He said, man. He said, me and my wife, we watch it all the time. And my head is like, your thug ass got a wife. But he actually, now, of course, I had hours to spare, but he actually wanted to talk to me about a whole lot of different things, all right? About the show, how much he liked it, what it was doing for the city, blah, blah, this, blah, blah, that. I didn't know. All I knew was that I had to get from point A to point B and then from point B back to point A. But he talked to me, said, you know, what are you doing walking? And I just said, I just needed some fresh air. He said, well, look, man, if there's anything you need from me, let me know. I said, yeah, I'm good. Walked to the studio. Now, as the show transpired into from the dance show to the music video show, and I started making money, I reached out to this guy because he turned around and he and his wife actually became consultants and helped me get that. I don't know if you remember, Gina, we had this party at the beach. Chris will remember.
I remember.
They were the ones that did that, okay, and helped me do that, and came up. Now, the long story short, him and his wife divorced. He became homeless, All right.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw him one day at a phone shop. I was actually buying my mother a phone, and he was homeless. So I asked him. I said, "Well, what's going on?" Because I didn't even know who he was. 'Cause he was all emaciated. He smelled bad, and he was just trying to get some money. So I asked him, "Did he have a phone?" He said, "Nah, man, I ain't got no way to communicate with nobody." So I bought him a phone, and I sat down with him, and I told him my story. I told him exactly what was going on with me before, and I told him, I said, if it had to been for your conversation and you and your wife's help, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. I bought him a phone. I got him a hotel room and gave him $500 so that he could at least try. I haven't seen him since, but I know that it's not necessarily a handout. As Kevin said, it's an opportunity to change your life. Right? So, I don't care if it wasn't all of that I did. It's an opportunity. All right. Yep. And sometimes we just got to take that opportunity. I know this isn't about homeless per se. We got to take that opportunity when it comes, because a lot of times when we pass up on a blessing, an opportunity, it may never come back. And it may be the only thing that we have that can change our lives. Don't look back at yesterday. It happened.
Right.
Today is now, and tomorrow is another chance to make it even better. So I pray for this guy. I'm not going to name his name. I pray for this guy, and I hope he's well, and I hope he did change his life. That's my story. I know it was long and drawn out. Call me Marcy, but
really, really.
He just loved
Were you trying to say something, sir? I'm sorry. Call you
really
Joe.
For real.
It's happening tonight, y'all.
No, it's interesting.
Kevin, unmute yourself.
No, I was just listening. It's like when you listen to another person's story and you're in that situation yourself, you always think your story is original.
Yeah.
And
Right.
when you listen to how someone else came out the other side, it's like, the one thing that's consistent with people that come out on the other side is that we never abandon our ego. I know it said hope, but you believe that this is happening to you for a reason, and you find the reason, and you need to come out and use this reason as a power to do something greater in life. Is when you abandon your ego and you give up hope, and you just close your eyes and hoping that tomorrow your eyes won't open and the pain will go away. That your reality is not the experiences that you have right now. And when I listened to Mo's wife, and she's talking about she's got 3 other lives that to take care of, and she's in this situation, it's like the mother cub. You got to survive.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and that's just kind of took me back. Is like, even when, most embarrassing thing that ever happened to me, when I went to work for Walmart, is that I purposely took a job far enough away from my community that I wouldn't run into anyone in my community. And I ran into someone. I got by almost a whole year without seeing someone that knew me, until my one neighbor came out, and I saw him coming down the aisle, and I abandoned my position and walked down and took off the little apron that I had on, and walked down like I was shopping. And he goes, "What are you doing in here?" And then I turned around. I said, I work here. He goes, "Why?" And I said, "Just one of those things. I just work here." And the nice thing about it is that when I tell people that this is how I got to, the 1,500 people that I interviewed for my book, I stopped promoting Walmart and started researching and turned that opportunity into what it is today.
Man, you're going to quit talking about Walmart.
They better sponsor us.
Hey,
Walmart been family with me when I was before.
Hey, I'm going to say I can only speak from my experience, and my experience wasn't the experience that everyone else has. I'm not saying it's a bad place, because I'm sure there are people that have prevailed in that situation. It's just the situation I was in and my experience. This is my story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I joke when I say that, but Walmart has been a sponsor of some of the things that I've done. So I love you, Walmart. Kevin doesn't, but I do.
Well, I just said that one story. It may be different. It may be just who's managing.
I'm going to have to side with Kevin because I had a family member that worked there. And
okay, but see,
let's get off Walmart.
I'm a Target man myself.
Okay, you know, something that we talked about the different programs and things of that, helping people get into homes. Something, Habitat for Humanity was one of my clients with fundraising. Habitat for Humanity.
Oh, I thought she said something.
I thought she said
Habitat for Humanity.
It sounded like James Brown showed up.
Yeah, exactly.
Something that they do. Something that they do.
Alone. Let her speak.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Habitat for Humanity does for their clients that they're getting homes for, building homes for, they make them take classes, finance, credit classes. They take classes on how to small light repairs. You know what, Greg? I almost said something to you.
I'm not never getting rid of that.
They also have classes teaching you how to do small repairs in your home so that you can keep your home up. They have different classes, and that's something that for when we're getting people when they're transitioning from a homeless position to being able to have a shelter over their heads. These classes need to be taught as well, not just giving them a home, how to keep their home clean.
Yeah.
Do the small repairs, whether you're renting or not, still, to keep your home up, how to do what to do with your money.
Yep.
How to go on interviews for jobs, how to dress properly. There's a lot more than just giving a person a home. And I'm not saying giving like you're just going to,
I agree with you 100%. My grandfather used to say he didn't mind giving you a hand, but he wasn't going to haul you around for the rest of your life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you got to be able to release that hand, that coddling, that enabling at some point. Hey, what about all of these kids, these young people now that are homeless, that are finding themselves homeless, these youngsters? I mean, I think that's.
But I think a lot of the youngsters that we see is because 70% they grow out of foster care. They have no place to go.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Right.
That's true. You talk to a lot of them kids.
Because at 18,
once that check stop coming, bye-bye.
Are the homeless people always viewed as I know they're vague. They call them vagrants, but are they criminals?
No,
not necessarily. They may do criminal activity,
to try to survive.
To survive, but not necessarily. They're not career criminals.
Right.
Well, I always had thought. This is what I always thought. Okay, you done arrested this guy 5 times for shoplifting, trying to get something to eat. All right. What the hell? I mean, what would it take for the same officer that's arrested him to take him down to the mission and get him something to eat instead of taking him down?
Yeah, but sometimes taking them downtown to the mission isn't the answer.
I'm just saying, instead of taking them downtown and taking up that space in the jail, what criminals supposed to be.
Hey, real quick, let's check this video out. It's called "View as Criminals." We'll be right back. DopelivenTV.
Just another in a recent spike in homeless arrests.
20% arrested this month have been homeless.
You get arrested just because you're homeless.
The typical long-term chronically homeless person was being put in jail a lot because of small petty crimes, open containers, trespassing, loitering, all those kinds of things.
Columbia, South Carolina, another city criminalizing homelessness.
Well, where are the homeless people supposed to go?
The homeless end up in the criminal justice system because there hasn't been a better alternative.
I served 3.5 years at the Utah State Prison, so I've been homeless a little over a year now. This morning, I had got out of jail, sat down like this. The officer had pulled up on his motorcycle and told me I was going to jail. This was the same officer who had just taken me to jail not even 24 hours ago.
Our homeless need long-term treatment solutions instead of just incarcerations and then put them back in the street.
just because I don't have a car, I don't have a credit card in my pocket or change in my pocket or a home to go to, does not make me a criminal.
Let's see, they're stereotyped. They are stereotyped, right?
Yep. It's
Because
a
you don't have
bias.
a job, you're going to go break into somebody's house, you're going to rob somebody and kill somebody. But that's not it. They just want to be recognized as a person,
as a citizen.
You know,
You know, a lot of these,
It's like they have no
a lot of
rights.
these cities are taking, you know, violating the Constitution by making homelessness a crime, and it's a violation of the Constitution. You can't turn around and arrest everybody that's poor because they're, you know, poor. That's against the Constitution.
You can't. You were saying something, Kevin?
No, I was just saying, I don't know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, it's and I think you and I are in pretty similar circumstances, man. You know, watching this and talking about this, man, it's so vivid right now.
It's a trick.
Yeah, but it's terrible now that we've come out of it and we see that the way that they're being treated. You know, knowing that we were once there, to me, it's a travesty. Now, have I ever? And I'm gonna be completely transparent. Have I ever been asked by a homeless person for some change and refused them? I have. I've done that. I'm not gonna lie.
I've done that too.
Why did I do it? I can't even give you an explanation as to why I did.
Well, the thing is, there's so many. You can't. Your dollar is only going to go so far,
Right.
and you don't always know where your dollar is going for. I will tell you. I remember Christmas, another Christmas, my first year in New York. I had to work, and I went to Ohio to see my family. And I was so pissed off that I had to work Christmas Eve. I walked around the corner, and all the change I had in my pocket, as soon as I turned around the corner, there was this guy standing with his coffee cup. And I went and put all the change I had in there, and I didn't hear the change hit the bottom. All I heard was plop, plop. I actually dropped my money into a man's coffee.
Oh.
I thought I was doing something. And I all I said, how much worse can it get? You know.
That's called good to the last drop.
Good to the last drop.
Bills.
What's going on, Chris?
Hey, Chris.
How y'all feeling?
Good.
Pretty good, man.
A little melancholy now.
Yeah.
No, that's the thing we're feeling right now.
We kumbaya, no, we all good. We kumbaya. But yeah, this homeless thing, it can go either way. But me, like I said, and I can only speak, and Kevin the same way. We didn't want to be homeless, but we wanted to be out of it, and we took the opportunities to make a difference in our lives, to change the trajectory of our lives, so that we can become successful and to give back.
That was the most walking I ever did in my whole life. Oh, God.
There's an education process that needs to be had, though. I think they need to be educated to be reprogrammed, I'll call it, back into society. Once that it can be done. It can be done. It can be that change can't happen.
But wouldn't you agree, Greg, that there needs to be a will to do it?
Oh, of course. There's some that just don't want to, but yeah, there has to be a will. And I don't you know, I've gone to Atlanta and I've seen that whole. They used to have the underground in Atlanta. All right, that underground is full of homeless people. All right, I remember, and if I could find that video, I was there one day and I was talking to a homeless guy, and this big ass rat came through.
Oh,
I mean, huge, bigger than Marcy's head. It was huge. All right. And
that's a big one.
I looked and I said, "Hey man, did you just see?" Because he was just sitting there, he was chilling. I said, "Did you just see that?" Because I'm like a little bitch. I was like,
"Yeah, just don't worry about that. That's my."
And he was like, he just said,
"Ben,
happens every day, man. We see them all the time." And I'm like, "You're so calm. How do you got used to this? You know what I mean? You got used to this. How long I asked him how long he had been out there. He said he'd been out there 10 years. Okay. 10 years.
Wow.
He's used to that.
But you know, we talk about homelessness, but remember the people who grew up in the projects and how close you were to being homeless growing up in the projects.
Didn't know.
You know, it wasn't a paycheck away, it was just a penny away.
Till you got that drug dealer boyfriend to come move in with you. Change the trajectory of your life really quick.
Yeah.
But no, I feel you on that, Mary. It's each person on this panel, man. We don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. Okay, we don't know if the world's going to change where every single thing that we have right now can be taken away from us. All right, that's why you do, number one, you keep your mind sharp. Okay, number two, you surround yourself with some people that have the same values, the same mindset that you have. All right, that don't want to be in that position. And but should we forget about those people? No. We need to help them. We need to do the best we can. And it's not just us 7 people on this panel, 8 people, I'm sorry. It's everybody. The conversation continues. And we say this with a bunch of subjects that we have, but it's just the same thing. The conversation has to be had. You know, what are we going to do? These politicians ain't going to do nothing. Okay, we talk about that. They're not going to do nothing. They're not. We have to do it. And, again, we can also say there's a lot of these millionaires out here living in these 8-bedroom mansions and all of that stuff. All right.
They don't see those people. They may pass them, but they don't see them. It's like it's just another tree, another stop sign. They don't see those people. And so for those of us who see them, all we can do is one person at a time. If everybody takes one person at a time and invest in them, teach them how to fish. Don't give them the fish, teach them how to fish. Then
show them what to fish for.
Yeah, it'll be so much better. We're never gonna stop homelessness. Homelessness is always gonna exist for one reason or the other. But those people that don't want to be homeless no more, we can at least see about helping them.
Absolutely. Hey, shout out to everyone watching the show: LaDonna Booker, Amina, Bruce, Lisa Neal, Bree, Trisha, Byron, Brenda, all of those that aren't on the little list here, people that are on LinkedIn that are looking, people that are on YouTube looking. Hey, we appreciate you all. Most definitely appreciate you all, because we would be, again, nothing without you guys. We're gonna wrap it up. Chris, you haven't said a word, okay, but we are talking about homeless, man. You got some final words you want to say?
I mean, it's a complex situation, a social situation at that. You know what I'm saying? You got people that deal with a lot of mental illnesses, mental health. You got a lot of people that has addiction, both to drug and non-drug addictions. And when people think that the taxes that we pay is supposed to clean the road, help listeners, that's not what it's designed for. That's not. It's designed for war. So when you say it, like when Pac said they got money for war but can't feed the poor, that's what it's designed for. To end homelessness in the United States, it'll cost them $20 billion to do that. That's the end all homelessness in the United States. Now,
Jeff Bezos, guys.
But there's countries with very low homelessness, homeless people. Japan is one. And I had to research to see why is Japan's homeless rate so low, and it's a few things.
They eat them young.
The main reason Japan is homelessness is real low is because they had to rebuild from the bottom up once they did. We haven't had before in the U.S. like that, where we had to rebuild from the bottom up. I mean, the reason, like Mo's wife said earlier, the reason why we see the homelessness or the people that's in our caliber, because sometimes people are 1-2 steps away from being there. It's like you said, you know what I'm saying? When you say the rich people don't see them, they don't see them because they're not really taking those chances, and they feel that they made it. So if I made it, they can make it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's not the way to look at it. Like, the housing authorities were supposed to end homelessness. That's the reason why it was created.
That's exactly
that was supposed to be the end. the ending of homelessness, and it didn't work out the way the government wanted it to work.
Mm-hmm.
And Adonna says, hello, we're rising up in excellence to pivot some real change for our people and humanity. Thank you, Adonna, for your comment. Hey, it's about time to get out of here. Let's go around the horn one time. Chris, you first.
I mean, like I said, we could do it as a community to try to end homelessness, but we can't do it if they don't want to end. Like, some people are used to the fact of it now, so we can try. You know what I'm saying? But it has to be a thought out plan for everyone. Like you said, we can start off with one person at a time, but if we can start off in groups and build apartments where we can basically revitalize their spirits and their hopeness of being not homeless anymore, with hotels and all of that, where they have to go out and get jobs and rebrand themselves into the community, into the world. Might have a chance, but it has to work both ways. It just can't work from one side.
Kevin?
And I think the words that Chris said was very profound, Mr. Black Google. I think when you view this show, look in the mirror and ask yourself if you've done your part. And if you feel a certain type of way that you should get involved, then don't wait for someone to ask you how you can help. Find someone and says, I want to help. Adapt his hashtag, find 1,000 reasons to be kind to someone. Life is short, and sometimes you can extend the life of someone else just by giving them a hand.
Marcella?
Mm-hmm. Homelessness will not be eliminated for all time and everywhere, but it can, homelessness can end one life at a time, like Marianne said. Let's all help to restore the lives of hurting men, women, children, and youth. If you know someone that's homeless or on the verge of becoming homeless, you can call anywhere in the United States 211. That is for essential community services. It helps with food, shelter, clothing, job training, physical and mental health support. Call 211. If it's someone, sometimes they're embarrassed or just ashamed of being in that predicament. Sometimes you might have to be the one to call for that. Also, you have the National Coalition for the Homeless. They have resources and can talk to you as well. That's located in Washington, D.C., but you can call the number at 202-462-4822. Everyone reach out to others. Don't just walk by. If there's a family member that you know is going through, try to help them. If it's a friend, if it's a neighbor, you never know. You might be the next one that needs the help.
That's all true. Everything you just said, Marcy. Plus, I've always said, me and her have always done as much as we can to anybody that's even coming close to the edge of homelessness. We've taken care of people's kids for months at a time, until they get themselves back together. And I think God has blessed us tremendously, our family, for it. And you got to be a blessing. You got to be a blessing to somebody to receive a blessing, and that's what we believe. And I again, like I said, I'm just blessed to have her. That she understands fully. We both understand fully that we have to help as much as we possibly can, and it even sometimes till it hurts. We've done it sometimes till it hurts.
You can, and also, don't just walk past that person that you're willing to hand money to. Find out something about them. See if there's something that they sometimes just speaking with them makes a world of difference. Sometimes feeding them makes that difference. You can tell if someone is hungry.
Sure can.
Go buy them some food. You don't have to give them the money if you feel uncomfortable with it. But speaking to them that is the food. That is the food for the brain. That's the food for the heart. That's the food that's gonna get them to that next level. Is you treating them like a human being and talking to them.
Yeah.
Just want to leave with a quick principle. For those that know. For those that will get it, hey, I'm going to just leave it at this, but I'm going to read this real quick. Bring ye all the tithes in the storehouse, that there may be meat in my house, and prove me now herewith, saith the Lord of hosts. And if I will not open you the windows of heaven and pour you out a blessing, that there shall not be room enough to receive it. And I will rebuke the devourer for your sakes, and he shall not destroy the fruits of your ground, neither shall your vine cast her fruit before the time in the field, saith the Lord of hosts. And all nations shall call you blessed, for ye shall be a delightsome land, saith the Lord of hosts.
Without a doubt.
Think on that.
Amen.
Amen.
Think on that.
Well, I know Marianne and Maurice are truly blessed. Look at that house that they're sitting in.
It's on the page.
Yes, we love this page.
I just want to leave with everybody. Many times people say, why should I give a homeless person my hard-earned money? They're going to take it and buy alcohol or get high or whatever. You know what? You got to look past that. You got to look past that. Whatever they do with it, they have to account for it.
Mm-hmm.
What you do it from the heart, and do it because you are trying to help someone, and just leave it at that. That's all I got to say.
And look, family, homelessness is a huge problem in the United States and throughout many parts of the world. And it's going to be difficult to end it. But some of the problems could be alleviated if more people show love and concern for those that are out there. Lots of people need help. We may need help at some point. But if we're not judgmental and we're willing to offer some help, some aid, then maybe there will be more people who could escape homelessness. Let's just be kind to everybody that's out there, man, and try to make sure that we are not so selfish. Everybody needs a leg up. Hey, don't forget, everybody, Dope Living TV Network. We out there. We out here coming at you. Bring us your content so we can get you on here and, make your dreams come true. That's what we do here at Dope Living TV live. Any one of these people, they can help you out, all right? We out of here. Tomorrow, we're going to be talking about another sensitive subject. It's this problem with guns out here. We're going to dig into that a little bit, and hopefully we can shed some light and get some people on here that will talk about it and shed some light for us, all right? But until then, okay, this is Dope Living TV Live. We will see you guys tomorrow, all right?
Peace out.
All right.